Hello, tere, bonjour, and labdien, those Latvians who wanted to join webinar in English. My name is Ritvars. I am BDM from Squalio, and I am really happy to see so many people joining our webinar. For some time, we didn't had it, and it means that that led to a record-breaking registrant count. So I'm really happy, and it shows that these subjects are interesting. One important aspect which I want to inform that customers from Malta, this event is organized together with our Malta's local partner Image Systems. Now about the agenda. So agenda is divided in 4 parts. This is the first part where a little bit maybe boarding information about the agenda, but then the most important, the knowledge will be later. So, and those guys will be like Ritvars, who will cover news about Intune, and in his pocket, he has some other interesting details related to Microsoft. Afterwards, our beloved partner from Denmark, Nimblr, and it will be represented by Kristoffer. And the last but not least, colleague with whom I have worked for 6+ years, Valters Gailis, will tell some interesting details from CISO world. But before I give a word to my wise colleagues, I want to cover some information about who we are and what we do, because I see like 50% of all the registrants were new to Squalio. So who we are a company who are in the business for more than 25 years. Started in Baltics, but now we are operating our business throughout Europe. And our service is divided in 5 main pillars. One very important is licensing. We are working with 500+ vendors, but I would say cornerstone is Microsoft. And when we speak about Microsoft, it links to the second pillar, which is infrastructure services. And we help our customers with our services wherever they are, on-prem, hybrid, cloud environment. We will supporting them through consultations and even managed services. Next, very important and close to my heart is cybersecurity. And here our colleagues help our customers and provide such business starting from infrastructure, e-learnings and phishing campaigns till more complex like pen test, red teaming, and also in auditing. We can support you, for example, in NIS2 audits, which are popular and still people are doing it, and ISO 27001. Yeah, this is about it. But now, last but not least, there are 2 other pillars. One is AI and Copilot, and here we work together with our customers from understanding what is idea, what they want to achieve, and we through the workshops we help them in, and then the end result is either colleagues get best out of M365 Copilot or use an agents. And the last topic is data and analytics, where our colleagues who are wizards in Power BI and Fabric help our customers. But now the part you have joined for starts. First speaker is really a wise and upper-coming guy, Ritvars. Ritvars, please, the stage is yours.
Hello, thank you everyone for joining us. So I will be talking about cloud-native management tools from Microsoft. But before we jump into the technical part, a little bit about myself. So I have 10+ years in IT. So I have started from humble beginnings in desktop service, being a service specialist, then going into front lines of IT in help desk, helping every customer also on premises, and then I advanced to being an administrator. And now I'm a consultant helping other clients and customers, helping improve their infrastructure, easing administrators, and also improving the management of endpoints. So about today's agenda, what we will dive into is that how Intune Suite features without any additional costs will be added to Microsoft E3 and E5 licenses. Any Intune announcements that were made at Microsoft Ignite 2025. And also a little bit deeper dive on cloud-native workstation management. But before we talk about all these features, also need to be introduced to Intune plans. So the very first one, the very basis of everything is Intune P1, which includes cloud-native device management solution Intune itself, with the appropriate admin portals where we can manage various different platforms such as Windows, macOS, and Linux systems, but also mobile device management with Android, iOS, iPadOS systems, also including any other these kind of mobile devices, both mobile phones and also tablets. This includes our centralized patching solutions with Windows Updates, Windows Auto Patch, central application deployment, central configuration deployment, device preparation from out-of-the-box experience all the way in the hands of the client, also reporting, different monitoring solutions, and also centralized security profile deployment. In addition to P1, there is also the availability of P2, which is an additional suite of features, which includes Microsoft Tunnel for Microsoft Application Management, management for specialty devices such as Teams calls devices, Microsoft Windows Surface laptop devices, firmware over-the-air updates. And then we move on to the final one, which will be added to E3 and E5 features, these Intune Suite features, which includes remote help, which is Microsoft's remote connection tool, which is similar to TeamViewer or AnyDesk, but this comes straight from Microsoft, which allows us to not just remotely connect and control the computer, but we can also do remote assistance, highlight any text. Instead of saying to a user like, hey, click here, we can instead highlight the feature that the client needs to click. And we can also have UAC controls, so any administrator requirements for credential input can also be supported. Next is endpoint privilege management, which means that instead of an administrator requiring to connect to the client's computer, instead what we can do is implement this endpoint privilege management, where we can either trust some applications implicitly to allow this administrator permissions for setup, but we can also approve any setups. So for instance, how it happens is that the user starts installation of some software that's maybe not centrally deployed. This support request comes into Intune, we accept it or deny it, and the user is only elevated for this setup period. Then we also have this cloud PKI. So instead of having complicated multi-server deployment on premises, we can instead have it as a cloud, this PKI as a service, and we can manage the lifecycle of certificates on our Intune joint devices. And last but not least is this enterprise app management, or actually not least, but enterprise app management, which is basically an additional store for where we can not just check for Windows Microsoft Store apps or anything like that, but this is also an enterprise app management additional store where administrators can upload additional Win32 type applications, which are approved. They go through a screening process, so they are safe to download from this app management store. And this is kind of an additional way to deploy centrally applications. And then we have this advanced analytics. Of course, we want to see additional things about our devices. So not just these default reports that is available with endpoint analytics, where we can do some proactive actions to improve device stability, performance, but we also can have this advanced analytics where we see additional properties of devices, use custom query language to also receive additional information about our managed systems. So one of the things that I also want to introduce, that Intune suite features are moving to E3, E5, and this will happen as far as the current information is known is the Q3 of this year, so around July. So what is E3 receiving? First off, this remote help tool, advanced analytics, and everything that was under Intune P2. And this comes without any extra cost. So if you already have maybe some of these Intune suite features, you will just receive them into your E3 licenses if you have them. So what's coming to E5? This endpoint privilege management, cloud PKI, enterprise app management. And these are the features coming to E5 in addition to everything that was in E3 included, of course, as well. Another thing important to mention is that Microsoft is already deploying these security copilot licenses based on your E5 license count, which means that basically, depending on how many E5 licenses you have, you will have some security copilot licenses included as a benefit. This is already started to be rolled out slowly, so some customers might already have received an email about this, but if you have not, then you will have the option eventually to also test the security copilot. So what about new features that were announced at Ignite? So, of course, we have to talk about AI, as it is a hot topic nowadays. But first up being this device offboarding agent. No one wants to manually or otherwise check stale devices. So for this, we have this device offboarding agent. So of course, in Intune, we can have these device cleanup rules, but in Entra ID, these devices are not automatically cleaned up. So instead, what we can do is give a task to this offboarding agent. It will prepare a list of devices, which it will offer that the administrator can clean up with simple button clicks. You can also create exclusions in case you have some high priority devices that you don't want cleaned. But otherwise, yeah, this will ease the management of stale devices. Next is this policy configuration agent. So if you have any design documents where you have policies described, you can feed this document to this policy configuration agent, and it will tell you whether you can deploy these policies in Intune or maybe not. But since everything that we deploy via Intune comes from administrative templates, there's very little that it probably won't be able to deploy. It's mostly some niche features. Or also, if you don't have this design document, what you can do is also just feed it some CIS benchmarks, which also can help you with best practices for device configuration. And the final one is the change review agent. So this will give you a centralized view of any tasks that are pending for administrators in one place. So if you have an administrator deploy this script for approval for other administrators, so this requires also some things like multi-admin approval. What it will do is that you have this agent. It will check all the tasks that are pending for your administrators in Intune and have it in one single place. And then it can also recommend, based on analytics in Defender for Endpoint Intune, whether this change should be accepted or maybe rejected. And so all of these agents do require security copilot license. But as you can remember, in E5, you get some for free as an added benefit. So a new list of features also includes these admin tasks. Maybe some of you have noticed in your Intune admin tenant. Some of these are already available, where you can see what kind of tasks have been assigned to you. So you don't have to go to multiple admin portals, see what's assigned to you, where to check it. Instead, you can go into this admin tasks and see it in one single place. Then we have deployments for phased rollout. So instead of us having to manually check new groups, when we deploy applications, instead we can do it in this single step where we can have this phased deployment for multiple groups in a single deployment option. Then in direct response to maybe well-known security incident CrowdStrike, as you might know, that it brought down half the world. So in response to this kind of incident, Microsoft also thought about better recovery management options. So with this WinRE, Windows Recovery Management, we will get better visibility. We will see what computers are in this recovery screen and which ones have launched this recovery. And it also gives us the possibility to launch these recovery tasks, starting from simple ones like restoring some restore points, maybe with a quick reset, up to full reset with autopilot, which of course, if a device requires more troubleshooting than maybe it takes to reinstall device, it is much easier to launch this recovery task. So it launches into autopilot, grabs all the files from user's OneDrive, and it will just be easier and quicker to get the client back to work so they can be productive again, then don't have to wait. Next is true maintenance windows for updates. So you can set times when these updates get deployed. Then we have this update readiness report, which means that we can select a specific feature update, for instance, Windows 24H2, 25H2, and we can see whether our managed devices are ready for this update. So it checks the full group, then it can tell you these devices are okay to go with this update, but if not, they can also show what kind of risk there is and why this device cannot be updated. For instance, maybe outdated DPM module, the chipset is not supported, or any other problems that might arise in the feature update. And we know that we always could learn more about what our apps are doing in our infrastructure. And for this, Microsoft has announced an improved application inventory, where we can see additional properties about our applications. One thing that I'm also looking forward to is this creating and managing local admin accounts on macOS systems. So what you can kind of equate this is that it is basically local administrator password solution for macOS devices. And then we have this endpoint privilege management for non-primary users. So this is in case we have a shared device, or maybe there are multiple users for this device, then this aforementioned endpoint privilege management, where we can temporarily escalate users' permissions. You can have these for also the additional users on the device. So, but what is this cloud-native workstation management in the end? So what this means is that the workstation is managed only by Intune and Entra ID. So it's not joined on premises, and it's not managed by things like on-premise Active Directory, by other tools such as SCCM. It is purely managed by Intune and Entra ID. So this means that as long as we have internet connection, we can manage this device. User can be somewhere on the other side of the world, maybe from a hotel room or something. As long as they have this internet connection, they will get the most lately deployed configuration. So it's always up to date without any VPNs or any other connection for your on-premises systems. You can take advantage of the most advanced security controls, as we know that the cloud is always advancing, it's always going forward, it's always up to date. So all the newest advanced security features will most likely always come first to cloud. We don't require any on-premises servers, which means there's no additional infrastructure costs within our on-premises. We don't need to upkeep servers. And the Intune platform management itself, we don't really need to deploy any updates for Intune itself. This is always managed by Microsoft. And we still get single sign-on top of the Entra ID authentication and Active Directory authentication. This obviously depends on the application itself. But for instance, like a password manager like Keeper, you create this enterprise application. So with what credentials the user signs on to their PC, they can also sign into Keeper with this SSO very simply. So maybe it's not so important to remember these 5 steps, but it is easier to remember what's in the green square, where we can manage devices anywhere. So it's easy of access as long as they're connected to the internet. We can centrally manage our devices. We can centrally patch them, deploy applications, any configuration changes, and also deploy the most actual security configurations as well. We have cross-platform support, so it supports a wide variety of platforms with Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, and iOS. And this requires of us less administrative effort, so no on-premises infrastructure upkeep, and we don't need to plan any updates for these platforms. So why would we choose this cloud-native workstation management? The future is in the cloud. As mentioned, everything newest comes usually to cloud first. It's always up to date. We don't need to update it manually to get these newest features. But also that on-premise technologies like Active Directory, SCCM are not really actively being improved by Microsoft. As we see by SCCM, we get updates twice a year, and those are mostly security updates without any new features. We have world-class identity protection out of the box, with also available security features like multi-factor authentication, conditional access, and Windows Hello for Business. Software is always up to date. There's no upgrade downtimes, and we don't have on-premise servers. The power of AI is coming to cloud tools. Microsoft has no plans to introduce these AI tools to on-premises, so also another reason why we look at cloud for this less administrative effort. We can easily integrate it with other cloud technologies like Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Cloud Apps, Endpoint DLP. So these are very easy to connect most of the time. All we need to do is click a check mark, click Save, so that it enables the communication between Intune and these other admin portals. Of course, onboarding policies are still required to configure and all the security policies, but the communication between these platforms is very simple. Then we have also the Intune management for mobile devices. We can deploy it in various different ways, like bring your own devices, where we just have a work profile on our Android phones, or we manage the applications on iOS devices. We have this fully managed scenario where we control the mobile device starting from setup all the way onto retirement, so we don't need to worry about any activation locks or anything, because there's sometimes are these problems where the user returns the device to us and it's like activation locked by using any private profiles. So we don't need to contact the reseller and prove that the device is ours. Instead, we can just easily reset it. And the least invasive option is this app protection scenario, where we don't really require the users to enroll their mobile phones to Intune. Instead, we can protect the applications that we are using for our work purposes. So the data is still encrypted, it's still protected, but the user does not have to worry about us seeing anything on their mobile devices. But yeah, even in bring your own devices, there's all these information labels that administrators don't see anything on users' private device anyway. Then we have also support for, as mentioned, macOS systems with some notable features like platform SSO, where we can still sign into this macOS device using Microsoft Entra ID credentials. We can manage file vault, which is this device encryption. And we also have integration with Apple Business Manager, so any authorized reseller can automatically join the device to Apple Business Manager, which afterwards we can send this device to Intune and then have the benefit of both controlling the device with Intune and also with Apple Business Manager. And my final slide, what I wanted to also talk about is this architecture. So it all starts with a humble computer, which is joined to Entra ID only, so nothing on premises. It is managed and secured by Microsoft Intune. And also further protection is deployed with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, which is not just an antivirus solution, it's an EDR solution. So it can also respond to any threats. Plus, you can also have some extra features like Defender for Cloud Apps, Defender for Office with safe links, safe attachments, Then you can also have this sanctioned or unsanctioned apps. So for instance, if a user tries to connect to maybe generative AI apps, start to put our forecast information into these generative AI apps, you can automatically block these kind of things. And we can also limit this management from unmanaged devices. So for instance, if a user tries to connect to our cloud applications from an unmanaged device, they will be limited by the things they can do within our work applications. So we authenticated this workstation with a second factor, this multi-factor authentication with Windows Hello. So this means that when you sign into this PC, you don't need to do any additional sign-ins for Office applications. This is all seamless. You sign in, and then you can just open Office applications and continue working. Then you have this single sign-on to software as a service applications, as before mentioned Keeper, where you don't need any additional password inputs. You just select to authenticate with your Microsoft Entra ID user. But we still have this SSO access to on-premises applications as well, with various features such as private network connectors, where we can also deploy our on-premises applications to cloud, so we don't require any VPNs in the middle. And also configure this Azure AD Cloud Kerberos Trust, where we have this implicit trust between our on-premises Active Directory and also this Entra ID Cloud. So if a cloud-only device tries to connect to our on-premises shares, you don't need to input any passwords. So it's all as if the computer was either hybrid joined or just joined to your on-premises infrastructure. Yeah, that's it from me. So I will now give word to Kristoffer.
Thank you so much. Wonderful presentation. My name is Kristoffer, and I'm a partner executive at Nimblr Security. Very happy to be here. We have a very strong collaboration with Squalio, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about awareness training, how to turn your employees from the greatest liability in your security setup to become part of the defense. I'm going to show you some slides, and then I'm also going to show you a platform of a demo of the platform, so you can see how it works. And as Microsoft is the theme today, I'm also happy to say that we are very compatible with your Microsoft setup and also other platforms. So I'm going to touch upon that as well. But let's look at the problem. Here are some percentages. You can see that cybercrime is costing the world a lot, and this number is probably bigger today than it was projected to be. 30% of organizations have been breached within the last 2 years. That numbers might actually also be higher. 85%, depending on how you look at it, of all these breaches are caused by a human factor, human error. And 18% of the harmful links and attachments in phishing mails are being clicked. That's 1 in 5. I have a few examples from some of the territories that we operate in, and we can see in Estonia, the top successful, so to say, emails are actually hitting way higher than the 18%. The same for Lithuania. I don't have for all countries present today, likely, but still, you can see that the top offenders are really successful in a bad way. So what's the market expecting from you? Trust and transparency. Obviously, they need to be in business and to do stuff with the trusted partners. They expect security, so you're doing a lot, but also they expect the market is also regulated. So you are well aware that there are a lot of demands out there, and security awareness training your employees in better cyber habits is crucial, and you need to be able to document it. So this is related to you, but also your customers and partners that are requiring that you have these things in place. So, is there hope? Well, of course. So 80% This is the reduction we can achieve if we do the right awareness training of the employees. And it's in 3 to 5 months, to be honest. So that means the 18% click rate can go down to 2%. So Nimblr is an awareness training solution. And I just want to tell you what is this service delivering. It's delivering micro courses, 5-minute courses sent to the user's inbox. It helps them learn about different topics, ransomware, phishing, how to spot change URLs and so on. So these courses are to lift the awareness and to give them concrete knowledge. And then we simulate attacks. So we have phishing mails, and we've released recently smishing, and it's going to be spread out to all of our markets. Smishing, so sending out SMS phishing attempts and testing if the users are falling for that as well. These simulations are selected random, so we have a big pool of simulations based on what's happening in real life. We have honeypots to capture real attacks, and then we recreate them for and send them out to those regions that the users are in. So the content is shaped by the context and the location. So what type of company, where is it at? What do you do? Who's the people working there as well? We also have reporting integrated with Outlook. So if users report these, we get statistics on that in the platform. Instant learning. So the Nimblr solution is built up around an automation that makes sure that the users and everybody administering the solution spend as little time as possible. But when they do something they shouldn't, they get exposed for instant learning. I'm going to show you really quickly how that looks. But this is a way to adapt the content to target it to the users dependent on their behavior. And then zero-day classes was when something urgent happens in the market of phishing attempts. We will send out some course and content really quickly to everybody. So you're always secure to get the most updated content. So if you are responsible for the IT security, the Nimblr solution gives you the ability to turn your employees into your cyber shield instead of your biggest liability in security. A very easy, accessible and full data overview of all the statistics on user behavior and course completion and so on. So the automation lets you just set up the whole thing. It'll take maybe an hour, and then it runs automatically. It builds campaigns for courses and simulations, sending them out, sending reminders, deploying the instant learning feature as well. We even automate reports, so you get executive summaries of what's been sent in the system, what's the click rate, what's the course completion rate, all of this, what simulations have been sent, what courses have been sent, all of this in a report, and you can use it as documentation and compliance. It's integrated to Entra ID, Google Workspace as well as SFTP to seamlessly let all user and group management be done automatically. This is an example of a bit of the report that we're sending out. And also very importantly, there's a high user satisfaction. The way we present the content, the actual content and the style keeps users engaged compared to maybe other ways of doing awareness training. So that's really important. And again, you spend minimum time and money when you also look at the big effect you can achieve. You can do awareness training and help your employees become better at get better cyber behavior. But we believe in an ongoing service where we every month poke the employees. Why is that? Yeah, we need them to be alert at all times. If you do it once a year, they'll forget. New threats appear all the time, so you want to be having updated content sent to them at all times. New employees, when they start, they can't wait until next time there is a security session awareness training session. So the question is if you can afford to wait 3, 9, 11 months to train your employees. So that is all for my presentation. We'll be accepting questions, of course, but I also want to spend a little time showing you the actual platform. So I'm stopping sharing my screen now. Then I'm going to go into my browser to show you how it actually looks. And you can see my screen. So I'm logging into a demo account with fabricated data. So reminding, the users don't have a place to log in. It's not a platform where they log in. They get invitations to the courses in the inbox. Simulations obviously go to the inbox and they complete courses in the browser. So this admin platform has 3 purposes: to look at content, to look at data, and to look at setting up and adapting it to the organization. On the content side, you can see that we always have updated. The last simulations came this week or last week. We updated the courses this month. And just to give you an idea about how does this micro course look like. So I'm going to show you in English, but we have, of course, many languages, 30 plus supported. So this course is about learning how URLs look like, and that's because that's often where you can spot that you have some malicious email coming in. You can also go back in the content, and this is very important that the user controls the pace of the course. And then we put in interactive elements, not to have statistics on quiz performance, but to give the users an opportunity to actually see if they notice what they learned. If they click the wrong one, they get to know what it was they clicked, and for the right one, they can continue the course. I'm going to jump out of the platform into the inbox to show you just a simulation. So I have it in different languages. Maybe I should show some English ones. But the point is that we will have localized content, and we will have what is being sent in your region replicated. We have all types, vendor specific, from authorities and also internal. This is CEO fraud. And what happens when I click a link? Well, as you remember, we have instant learning. So now I'm really open for learning because I made a mistake and I'm surprised. I need some specific content and I need it now. Instant learning has 2 parts. First, there is a small guide that showed what could I have noticed in this particular simulation or phishing email. And then I get a shortcut to a course that goes on top of my flow. So as a user, I spend 5 minutes a month to complete a course. If I click, I spend 5 minutes extra. If I click twice, I spend 5 minutes extra. So I hope that really makes sense. Just to give you a quick overview of the data, you have a dashboard where you can see all the assembled data, course completion rate, click rate, how users are distributed and awareness level. And the awareness level is calculated based on user behavior, clicks, course completion, and so on. Of course, you can also dive into the specifics of the data. You can look at the users, their statistics on the clicks, course completion, and so on. You can look at the simulations, click rate over time, click rate in groups. You divide the organization into groups normally. And then on each simulation, so how are they actually performing? If there's one that's performing, people click a lot, maybe you want to address that. You can see the courses and completion rate on each course. And you can look at the awareness level globally as on the dashboard, but also in groups and see, okay, it's actually this department or office that is performing badly. So this is where we want to put our efforts to lift the awareness training. Finally, it's really easy to set up the solution. We do some whitelisting, integration, as I said, for user group management. But I just want to show you a little bit on how we can adapt it to your organizations. So in all these groups, when you look at the settings, we have all these. So we can give the group a name, contact information, address, type of department, which compliance frameworks like GDPR, DORA, and NIS2 do you want extra content with, language and country, and opening hours. So the content will be shaped accordingly. I showed you a CEO fraud email, phishing email, and this is where they draw the data to personalize it for that manager. But we also have simulations coming from help desk, technical support, from customers, from suppliers, and from HR. So from the pool, it'll be populated with that data. We also have vendor-specific simulations and based on your domains and the systems you use, the technology in use. So yeah, and then finally resource contacts. So the ghost centers goes into the simulations, but these micro courses that teaches you how to behave and act will also tell you what to do in situations with breaches or ransomware situations or whatever. And this you can put in the department or concrete contact info on people. So the courses will be looking like this. On this demo, I can't show you the statistics for reporting because it's a recent feature, but it's already on the actual platform, and the same for smishing, which is also a pretty new feature on how those statistics look like. But else, this is what I wanted to show you today, and then I want to say thank you for listening, and if you have questions, they're going to be addressed in the chat, and we can also answer them post event. So thank you very much for your time, and then the word goes to Valters to dive deeper into the presentation.
Yes, thank you, Kristoffer. Thank you for this nice demo and information. Before I start, a short reminder for our watchers and listeners, you can ask questions in the chat. Those questions will not be public, they will be private, and we will review them. And please add your email and organization so we can reply to your questions after the webinar. But please don't be shy, any questions are welcome. Okay, my name is Valters. I'm the head of cybersecurity team at Squalio, and I've been in IT and cybersecurity for almost 8 years. And one of our services we provide to our clients, to our customers, is Chief Information Security Officer as a service, in short, CISO. And one of those services and responsibilities as a CISO is risk management and risk reduction. And let me start with a simple question. If tomorrow 25% of your employees clicked on a malicious link, would you know? And more importantly, would you know what to do about it? Because phishing is not an awareness problem. It's an exposure problem. It is measurable, it is predictable, and it is preventable. As CISO, our responsibility is not to send training emails. Our responsibility is to reduce measurable operational risk. And that is exactly how we approach awareness and phishing simulations in practice. Now let me show you how. Let me shift the perspective slightly. Phishing simulations are not about testing employees. They are not about sending tricky emails. They are about managing operational risk. And managing risk is a CISO responsibility. When we act as a CISO for our clients, we don't see awareness as a training activity. We see it as a part of the security governance model. Today, I want to explain how we use awareness and phishing simulations as a structured risk management mechanism, not as a standalone tool. In most organizations, awareness is still treated as an HR task. But from a CISO perspective, human error is one of the primary entry points for security incidents. If 30% of employees click on a malicious link, that is not an education issue. That is measurable operational exposure. And if something is measurable, it becomes part of the risk register. As CISO, our responsibility is not to blame employees. Our responsibility is to understand, quantify, and reduce that exposure over time. That is the shift in mindset. Phishing simulations do not exist in isolation. They are part of a broader governance structure. Risk assessment, control implementation, validation of controls, continuous improvement. When we introduce phishing simulations, we link them to internal policies, incident response readiness, access control maturity, and also regulatory compliance requirements. It becomes part of the overall ICT risk management strategy, not a campaign, a control mechanism. The platform sends emails. That is important, but that is not the strategic part. As CISO, we define which departments carry higher risk, how frequently they should be tested, what attack scenarios are realistic for that organization, and how results affect the overall risk assessment. We align this with NIS2 and ISO 27001 compliance requirements or DORA expectations and internal governance policies. And most importantly, we translate technical results into business impact language. That is where the added value lies. In practice, our approach is structured. Step 1, establish a baseline. We measure the current level of exposure. Step 2, identify high-risk groups, finance, executives, privileged users. Not everyone faces the same threat level. Step 3, design targeted simulations, not generic templates, but realistic attack scenarios. And step 4, integrate results into reporting and risk tracking. If click rates are high in specific department, that becomes a monitored risk area. And then we repeat. This is how governance works. Measurement, action, and validation. Management does not need more statistics. Management needs clarity. Through structured awareness programs, leadership gains visibility of human-related risks, measurable trends over time, evidence for audits, and confidence that the risk is actively being reduced. Instead of saying we do awareness training, they can say we have reduced human risk exposure by X% over 12 months. That is completely different conversation at board level. And there is another important dimension, culture. True CISO does not create fear. If employees feel monitored or punished, they will hide mistakes. If employees feel supported, they will report incidents early. When people voluntarily report suspicious emails before clicking, that is when awareness turns into resilience. And resilience is what regulators and boards care about. We are not testing people. We are strengthening the organization. Let's be honest. Anyone can buy a phishing platform. Very few organizations know how to integrate it into governance, compliance, and operational risk management. That is the difference. A platform creates activity, a CISO creates structure. A platform generates statistics, a CISO turns statistics into strategic decisions. This is where we position our service, not as a tool provider, but as a security governance partner. Human risk is measurable. If it is measurable, it is manageable. And if it is manageable, it must be part of the CISO agenda. Security awareness and phishing simulations are not side activities. They are part of operational resilience. And when implemented correctly with structure, governance, and continuous improvement, they reduce real business risk. That is how we apply them in practice. Thank you. Now a word to Ritvars.
Thank you, Valters, for your presentation. Thank you, Kristoffer. On a closing part, I wanted to mention that, guys, if you have seen any of these topics, starting from Intune, Nimblr platform, or CISO interested you, or some of the previously mentioned topics on from licensing and infrastructure, please get in touch with us with the account manager you are most familiar with, or write to us at squalio.com, and we will be here to support you. Also, to all of those who wrote the questions in the chat, we will answer after this webinar. My closing lines are: people, there are statistics. Everybody here are speaking about statistics. Me, as more from business development side, I'm more working with a human, and there have been statistics that people love the most Thursdays, not the Fridays or weekends when it is, but the thought that the Friday and weekend is near is one of the best feelings. So thank you for your time, and have a great day. Bye.